Hey everybody, Christopher Farms, welcome back. I got a couple of tasks to do around the tiny house today, and one of those is splitting some firewood. It's a really nice day out today, actually, for December 20th. Tomorrow's the first day of winter, and it's about 50 degrees out, lower 50s, so it's a really nice temperature. With the sunlight coming in the windows of the tiny house, I probably wouldn't need to get a fire going again. I actually let it go out this morning. But it's supposed to get down to the 20s, upper 20s at night for the next couple of nights, and then actually warm up over the weekend, and then it's only a high of 32, I think, for Christmas Day on Monday. So we need to get some wood split, and I thought I'd take you along, show you my splitter. And you can see that in the background back there, and the pile of wood that we got. When did we do that? I think we cut that on Sunday. Found some ash that was down. But at any rate, thought I'd take you along on the splitter, show you the splitter stuff. I got my splitter a couple of years ago when I started heating the house that I was living in 100% with wood. I split wood with an axe before, axe, maul, you know, all that stuff, and you can definitely do that. But I broke down. My splitter cost me about $1,000. It was on sale at one of the big box stores. I bought it, had to assemble it myself, and you know, it's a pretty big investment. At least it was for me at about $1,000. But man, I tell you what, it really helps out on the big stumps and stuff like that. And I will say, you know, you can split faster with an axe on some of the small stuff that I'm going to be splitting today. But I want to take you guys along to show you at least the splitter and some techniques that I've learned. So let's go over there and take a look. So here's my splitter, a Brute with a Briggs & Stratton engine. For those in the Midwest, I don't know if Menards is how well known Menards is across the country, but it is in the Midwest. That's where I picked this up. It was on sale, and like I said, I think I got it for about $1,000 on sale. So the main components, I probably have to say there's four main components to a wood splitter, and you sort of have the frame and the wheels that you have here. I'm sorry, I'm sort of fighting the sun a little bit here. So you get just the overall frame and the wheels that everything sits on. You can tow it behind a vehicle. It says somewhere maximum tow speeds 45 miles an hour, and I'd have to say it's probably not really intended for, you know, towing around on the road all the time. It's probably more you could hook this behind your ATV or whatever, pulling around your woodlot or something like that, and definitely not for highway use. It did come with some reflectors on the fenders here, but I thought that was pretty funny. Those broke off pretty quick because you're going to drop some wood, especially when you're in the horizontal splitting like this is. It's going to roll off or push off, and so both of these have broke over time. You could probably, or they probably could manufacture them with some armor on them so they wouldn't break, but that probably cost more money. So the first thing is the frame. I think one main component of the four. The next one I'd say is probably the engine, and these are no particular order because without any one of them, then none of it will work. So you have your engine. Your engine over here on this side drives your hydraulic pump, which is right there, and then you have some other things that go along with the hydraulics, is the filter, and then this actually, the axle, I guess, is the hydraulic reservoir. So over on the other side there's a fill port over there. So that's probably the third component, is your hydraulic pump, and then the fourth component is your hydraulic ram, which is here, and you have a handle for moving it forward, moving it back, and some different stuff. And then that, I would say, includes your splitting edge there. So pretty basic configuration in this setup. You have your cradle here. This has an accessory little deck over there to put wood on as you're splitting it stuff. Not always effective because the whole thing vibrates when you're running it, and the wood will vibrate off. But it's not bad because you can leave stuff over there and get a better handle on it, moving it. One of the features of this one, it does have a document box on there, and gosh, I think the instructions are probably in there. I would assume they're in there. I don't know where else they'd be at. So that's probably the four major components. Obviously, there is a lot of danger in working with this. Your hydraulics can get hot. You got a little sticker there. Obviously, there's a pinch hazard. It's probably a little more than a pinch hazard. You can lose fingers and arms and whatever in there. Definitely in there. I'll take a moment to say this too, is this isn't a video of how to use this stuff. This is just sort of the overview. You need to read the instructions that come with it to learn how to use it, adhere to all the safety warnings and understand the safety warnings and stuff like that. You can actually use this in two ways. This is a horizontal method, and then if you pull some pins and stuff, you can use it in a vertical method. Let me pull the pin and set this up, and we'll show that to you. Up there, so let me show you what to do to set this up in a vertical splitting position. So the horizontal position is pretty nice for smaller stuff. You reach down, you can put it on the splitting deck, split it up, manipulate it, split it again however you want to, throw it to the side all standing up. It's nice to put it in a vertical for bigger pieces and stumps and stuff. That way you don't have to lift them up and put them onto the splitter. You can just sort of roll them in there, get them split, make them small. You can also sit down, which is nice. You put a piece of wood up to sit on in front of the splitter, and then it makes it nice, because if you have a buddy, the buddy pushes the wood over to you, you get it put into the splitter. So pretty easy to move this. Right now this is what I call in the horizontal mode, and pull the pin out here, you lift up. Now it's in the vertical mode, and an important thing that you want to, and of course this is going to be different for your splitter or whatever, you'll want to pull this pin out, and that basically locks it in. So if you got a big piece of wood sort of comes off the bottom there, it's not going to flip your splitting deck back up. So that's pretty straightforward on how to do that. I'm not going to do that right now, but I will show you how I typically like to split when it's like this. So I will, and this isn't too bad of a position right here, but I would find a nice piece of wood here. This is pretty nice. I just set that right here, and I'd sit down. Well, you know what? I might split like this today. So I'd sit just like this, be able to work my handle, and I can bring in pieces of wood like this and split them up. Works pretty well, and it's great if you have a lot of splitting to do, because you can basically sit down on the job. But no, because I want to show you some tricks, and I think I'm going to be able to do that better if my splitter is the other way. So let me get set up, and we'll come back. All right, let me show you first sort of the most simplest way of splitting wood. You just split it in half. Then you take a quarter, or take your half and you split that in half, which makes a quarter, and then an eighth. You get down to how small you need it for your particular stove or whatever you're doing, camp wood or whatever it might be. So let me fire this up, and we'll show you that, and then come back and show you how I like to do it. Pretty simple and straightforward, but you can see we're basically splitting one piece at a time, and you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that, except I think it takes a little bit more time than an optional method that I like to use, if I could find oh, there it is. So these are smaller pieces of wood, but the bigger pieces of wood I had, they were really sort of too far gone. All right, so I got another piece of wood up here, and these are smaller pieces of wood, but this stuff works on larger pieces of wood too. So here's my next piece of wood, and so instead of just cutting it or splitting in half and then splitting half and half, make quarters and go on like I did, I'm going to think ahead a little bit on this, and really when you split one piece at a time, split it in half and then take half and split it, you're really not using the full potential of your stop back here. As long as it's pushed against this stop, you can split it when the splitter hits it. So for this one, and like I said, you could do this on bigger pieces of wood too. We'll see how this piece of wood splits. It seems pretty solid, but I'll probably whack it once here and probably take this and set it to the side, and then I'll probably whack it here, and then I'll have two pieces here, and then I'll come back and probably on this one split here and split here. And you'll see how this works is I'm going to split all of this up here or to this side at the same time. So let me get things fired back up and we'll get going with that. So I got this piece here, which I could whack again if I wanted to, split it, but it seems to be a pretty good size, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then I have all this here, and you see I never took this whole piece off. If I would have been taking pieces off and bringing them back, it takes extra time. But so now I've got all this split, and it's a pretty good size for my wood stove. So that is how I like to split this method, and then it's the same way if you tilt your wood splitter up and do it in vertical. You just put a little thought into it, and you can become more efficient at it. And especially when you have a whole lot of wood to split, it makes it go a little bit quicker. So I've got some wood to split here, so I'm going to jump on it.